I get overwhelmed so easily. My anxiety creeps inside of me, makes it hard to breathe. What's come over me feels like I'm somebody else.
Hello guys. This is the Orange Hokage here, and today we are doing What If Naruto Went Back in Time with Sakura Part 29. Make sure you check the description for the original creator's story, and now let's get right into the story. Are you excited to watch the exhibition match between Naruto-sama, Raikage-sama and B-sensei? Kurui asked Yujito with barely hidden excitement. One couldn't really blame her. After all, a battle between a shinobi who was beyond S rank and the most legendary S rank duo in history would easily excite anyone. I am interested to get a glimpse of my fiancé's power firsthand. Besides, I have already seen the true power of Raikage-sama and B. After all, they helped me train to be able to use Matatabi's power. Karui nodded as she and Amor sat with her and Sammy in the visiting dignitaries' box, ready to protect them when the time came. All around them, the daimyo in attendance, representatives of unattending daimyo and leaders of the different multinational civilian organizations were chatting excitedly in anticipation of the fight. It was nearing 10 in the morning and the cage box was already occupied by the cage, including the Raikage, who had decided to forgive his ceremonial robes for the occasion. Leaning on the wall beneath the cage box was B, as he wrote in his notebook. 5 minutes to 10 was when Naruto appeared in the middle of the arena with an excited grin on his face. As soon as he arrived, the chatter around the arena silenced. Our finalists are already here, so give them a big round of applause. These four have proven themselves to be the best of their group. Now, only one will be triumphant and crowned the strongest of their group. The crowd cheered at the end of the short speech. After the crowd fell silent once again, Naruto continued. Unfortunately, they must wait a short while before they can get on proving their individual superiority, for we have the much-anticipated exhibition match between me and the legendary Jūbi combo from Kumo. A pair of shinobi with such teamwork and speed that they had even given my dearly departed father trouble during the Third Shinobi War. So please welcome the Yondaime Raikage and his brother in all but blood, Kairabi, the Hachibi Jinchuriki. The crowd went wild at the statement as he jumped down from the cage box and landed right beside his brother. B didn't even look fazed at the sudden arrival of his brother, as he placed the book in his tools pouch and walked towards Naruto with B beside him. Both sporting excited looks. Now for the rules. Since we want Konoha intact along with the stadium, we have decided that neither I nor Kairabi-san will be using Bijū mode. Other than that, I will only be using Ninshu and Fuinjutsu, while Kairabi-san will be using his legendary Seven Swords style and Raikage-dano will showcase his immense speed and power in Taijutsu. A ceiling array has been placed on all stands that will allow all spectators to perceive the battle that will occur at speeds that only Kage and other S-ranked shinobi and Konoha can only hope to perceive. A barrier will also be in place for the protection of you all. Now enjoy. As soon as Naruto said that, a dome barrier formed around the arena ground before flashing white and becoming transparent. While that was occurring, Naruto, B and E got into their respective taijutsu stances and waited for an unseen signal. It happened before anyone realized it, even with the seal enhancing their perception. E was engulfed in an aura of lightning chakra, his legendary right-on chakra mode. At the same time, B was engulfed in a cloak of bubbling red chakra with 8 tails waving behind him. In the blink of an eye, E and B vanished and tried to strike Naruto with a double lariat strike, only for Naruto to blink out of existence and reappear behind B with lightning erupting from his outstretched index and middle fingers. B and E weren't taken by surprise as they both vanished with immense speed, teleportation in E's case, and reappeared at 2 separate ends of the arena. B unsheathed his 7 swords and charged towards Naruto while E did the same. Teleporting above Naruto, E tried to dropkick the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, only for his target to suddenly be replaced with his brother. Unlike the regular Kawarimi, this seemed to be far superior, as B was surprised to be suddenly the drop-kicked. E's leg was caught by B's right arm and redirected, only for E to be struck in the back by a pillar of rock rising from the ground beneath him. Regained his bearings, E looked at B and said, "This is becoming quite similar to our battle with Minato. In fact, it seems that Naruto-dano's technique is far superior to the higher Shin. Yo, I will have to accept that, bro. Let's try that strategy we developed for just such a case." He nodded as the lightning around him surged while B's chakra cloak bubbled a bit before both charged forward at teleportation speeds. What followed afterwards is not completely describable by words. The three shinobi seemed to disappear from and reappear at multiple places at once. Shockwaves erupted from each clash. Waves of fire, ice, water, rock and wind blades started filling the arena as the three behemoths battled it out for nearly 15 minutes before a particularly loud shockwave erupted from E and B, crashing into the ground, cratering it. Right afterwards, streaks of glowing chakras started flying from Naruto's hands at the legendary Kumo duo, both of whom were now on the defensive as they tried to and succeeded in dodging the seals, both offensive and defensive. I wonder how long it will take me to reach that level of proficiency with the three-dimensional sealing arts? Don't despair at Naruto's skills, Karen-san. I am sure that you will reach such levels soon as well. Gaara said with a smile. Karen nodded and turned back to the battle and saw that Naruto had changed strategies. Instead of the binding techniques, he had started using some of the support techniques as well. Here and there, barriers of different kinds seemed to have formed, reducing the mobility. At other places, the ground seemed to have been turned to lava, probably with the use of lava bending. Let's not forget about the beams of concentrated energy flying. Most of the seals were not known to her, but here and there were a couple of Hadofuin, Raikouo and a Hadofuin she remembered to be called Kurohitsugi were used as well. The latter was a very high-ranked seal that conjured a black coffin-like chakra barrier around the target and crushed them with high-intensity gravity distortions. The battle went on for 5 more minutes before Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, stood up and declared, "This exhibition match is at an end. The outcome is a draw." B and Naruto immediately stopped fighting and jumped back away from each other and both as the barrier flashed and dissipated. As soon as the barrier dissipated, all three disappeared in puffs of smoke. The sign of a successful use of the Shunshin no Jutsu. The ground of the arena glowed as a sealing array came into view. As the array glowed, time seemed to rewind as the craters filled out, the lava solidified into dirt and even the dead and uprooted grass was replaced. After the seal faded, Naruto reappeared and called out, "Will the 4 finalists please come down to the arena floor?" Naruto hadn't even been able to finish the sentence when all 4 finalists appeared around him in a square formation. Each finalist easily being able to keep an eye the other 3. Seeing that all 4 were ready and eager to get started, Naruto nodded and said, "Hajime." Just as Naruto disappeared from the arena floor, the 4 finalists jumped into the fight. Karen manifested her chains and attacked all 3 of her opponents at the same time. Gaara's gourd shattered into a massive quantity of sand as it swirled around him, a defensive state, easily slapping away Karen's chain before a wave of Sushuriken flew towards his 3 opponents. Sasuke decided that it was time to show his true power, and so his eyes morphed into his In no Mangekyo Sharingan. In a flash of blue chakra, his body was engulfed in ribcage and layer of translucent blue chakra of his incomplete Susanoo. Karen's chain and Gaara's Sushuriken crashed impotently against the ultimate defensive technique of the Uchiha's bony arms manifested as well as a skull-like head. Konohamaru grinned as he spun on his heels and disappeared into the ground, preparing for a counter-attack. To see such a young Uchiha use the legendary Susanoo. Don't they have to kill someone to get the Mangekyo? Onoki wondered with a frown. That was the original belief, but Sasuke-kun, with some help from Naruto-kun, was able to gain the In no Mangekyo Sharingan. Though I don't know how he did it, but I believe that extensive use of the Sharingan was involved. Hiruzen commented with a smile. Mai and E, who seemed to still be a bit out of breath, didn't say anything as they watched the battle royal occurring in the arena. Surprisingly, it wasn't the Kazekage, as Hiruzen suspected, but one of his guards that let out a light hiss of annoyance. Young Karen seems to have great skill in those unique 3-dimensional Fuinjutsu techniques. That single pain barrier she manifested to fend off Gaara's Sushuriken was impressive. Onoki stated with an impressed expression. I believe that it is called Bakudo Fuin, Danku. It is a high-level sealing barrier that protects the user from a single direction. Naruto-kun said that it should have the ability to easily stop any A-rank jutsu in its tracks. Karen sensed the earth below her shift, causing her to jump back just in time to dodge the pillar of rock that had shot out of the ground, intent on smacking her underneath her chin. She sent forth her chains and ripped the rock pillar to rubble before sending the chains into the ground towards where she sensed Konohamaru to be hiding. Around her, Sasuke had jumped onto the palm of his Susanu's bony hand and focused to floating up into the air, with a blade of chakra manifesting in the construct's other hand intent on slicing through the pillars rushing towards him. Gaara was already standing on a platform of floating sand with the rest of the sand flowing around and crushing the pillars of rock rising towards him. Konohamaru was grinning as he tunneled underneath the arena, intent on striking from a safe place when the vibrations in the earth alerted him to the presence of two chakra chains racing towards him. Splashing his palms upward, he managed to redirect the two chains as he stomped on the bedrock, causing him to rise towards the surface. Sasuke and Gaara were battling it out in the air as Karen focused her attention on taking out Konohamaru. Gaara was sending waves of crushing sand at Sasuke, who easily kept destroying the sand tentacles with powerful swipes of his chakra sword. Dissipating the sword, Sasuke moved the chakra arm in a circular fashion before thrusting it forward with the index and middle fingers pointed at Gaara. The Akabe Jinchuriki just had enough presence of mind to construct a Shukaku notate in front of him as a thick bolt of blue lightning erupted from the Susanu's fingers and slammed into the shield, blowing it apart with ease. Underneath them, Konohamaru had erupted out of the ground, riding on a pillar of rock, and just as the rock reached 10 feet, it stopped growing as Konohamaru jumped at the apex, causing him to soar above their level and then with a front flip, fall down towards Gaara with his foot bursting into white flames. Gaara didn't even blink as he was suddenly engulfed in a cloak of bubbling red chakra. With a wave of his hand, the red chakra solidified into a wall of opaque red chakra that easily withstood the attack before pulsing, sending Konohamaru flying away. Gaara would have pressed his advantage if he wasn't suddenly wrapped in golden chains of chakra. Normally, he wouldn't have worried, but for some reason, the chains seemed to be suppressing Shukaku's chakra to a certain degree. Seeing no other choice but to draw out even more of Shukaku's power, Gaara started drawing the sand towards himself as the red chakra cloak pulsed and shattered the chains. The sand engulfed his whole body as Gaara landed onto the ground and morphed into the shape of Shukaku. Then glowing blue lines seemed to blossom all over the sand tanuki, giving of an ominous feeling. Seeing that the battle was about to be taken to a completely different level, Karen jumped back and manifested her chains once again, intent on at least being able to restrain Gaara long enough to apply the Bijū suppression seal she had on her person. Sasuke landed on the ground and proceeded to manifest his complete Susanoo in anticipation of the battle to come. Konohamaru just clicked his tongue in annoyance as he realized that the battle just got out of his league. Even then, he will make sure that he will go out with a bang. Concentrating his focus at the base of Gaara's tail, Konohamaru caused a massive explosion that caused the sand-forming Shukaku's form around Gaara to temporarily shatter before they unflowed back together and reformed with wisps of red chakra emanating from the sand construct. Just as Konohamaru was about to forfeit, feathers started raining from the heavens, causing the young Sarutobi to sigh in relief as he and his fellow finalists disrupted the jutsu and prepared to fight off the invasion. "What's this, Orochimaru? I thought that the plan was to wait till noon?" Raza asked as he ripped away his robes, revealing his battle uniform. His two guards did the same, revealing that they were Orochimaru and 4 shinobi from Otagakure. "What can I say? This was the perfect opportunity. Gaara is already preparing to unleash Shukaku. Why don't we take advantage of it right now? There is no way the rest of the Jinchuriki can unleash their Bijū Kukaku. Not if they want to reduce Konoha to rubble," Orochimaru stated with a creepy chuckle. Anoki, Mai, and Hiruzen stood up as well while taking off their ceremonial robes to prepare for battle. Hiruzen spoke up, "You have become very arrogant to think you will win, Orochimaru." "Ah. But I know that I will win, especially with my trump card. I doubt any of you can handle an immortal and untiring cage." This young whippersnapper has become lost in his delusions of grandeur. Hiruzen reminds me of Deidara, Anoki commented as he floated into the air. "Don't compare me to that idiotic bomber. Raza, take out the trash, will you?" Orochimaru said as he jumped back. Raza glared at Orochimaru but moved forward to attack. Just as he took his 5th step, he was suddenly kicked away from the 4 cage as a barrier formed around them. "That's one enemy down," Naruto exclaimed with joy as he took a stance and prepared to pounce upon Orochimaru and his 4 shinobi. But before he could, the 4 Otonin took up a box formation and put up a violet barrier. "The Shishinjin? I am impressed, Orochimaru. a technique that was reverse-engineered from the Uchiha engine, which in turn was created from an old Uzumaki barrier called the Uzumaki Kaku engine. Do you think you are safe in there? Kukaku. I would like to see you try and get in, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru said as he finished with a set of hand seals. 5 coffins rose from the ground. 3 had the kanji for 1, 2 and 4 engraved on them, while the last 2 had the kanji for Shodai and Nidai. Naruto-kun, you have to stop him now. Hiruzen shouted in panic. If he was right, then all of them were in grave danger. Naruto adopted a serious expression as he suddenly vanished in the blink of an eye and reappeared inside the barrier. Just as the 5 coffins opened to reveal Senju Hashirama, Senju Dabairama, Namikaze Minato, Senju Mito and Uzumaki Kushina opening their eyes and taking a step into the world, Naruto appeared and kicked Orochimaru in the sternum, sending the heavy Sannin crashing into his own barrier. Damn it! We need to stop that snake summons now! Akane exclaimed to his comrades when the snake's head crashed into the ground with a resounding boom. A massive cloud of dust obscured the view for a few moments before the dust suddenly swirled together to form a ball of rocks and sand, revealing the snake to be dead and Haruno Sakura standing on top of its caved-in head, manipulating the ball of rock and sand with her hands. With a throw-in gesture, Sakura sent the massive boulder towards a group of enemies, crushing some and injuring others before it dispersed back into dust. As the Konoha stared at the scene in shock and awe, Sakura sighed and shouted out, "Well, don't just stand there and gape like idiots. We have an invading force to push back." With her piece said, Sakura jumped off the snake and landed on a slab of raised rock. With a single pulling motion, Sakura caused the slab to rush over the earth as if it was a boat sailing over water. The enemy ninja shouted in panic as Sakura proceeded to crush any enemy that got in her way with the slab of rock she was riding before suddenly jumping off, letting the slab fly forward and strike the face of a newly emerged snake, stunning it. Anatonin was lucky enough to be able to pierce Sakura through her stomach, only for his upper body to disintegrate from her retaliating punch. Without stopping in her rampage, Sakura pulled out sword and with a pale blue glow, the injury sealed up without even a scar. Stomping on the ground, Sakura punched forward with her fists, causing the ground in front of her to suddenly melt into lava and rush forward to consume the shocked enemies before suddenly spiking outwards, piercing and burning the snake summons in multiple fatal points, killing it. "Anko, get the hell out there and do some damage." Ibiki screams out to the snake mistress, causing the scantily clad woman to give a bloodthirsty grin and close her eyes for a couple of minutes. Soon a cloak of poisonous blue-green chakra erupted over her as black a shadow-like pigmentation appeared around her eyes. Opening the closed appendages, she revealed her snake-like eyes to the greater world for the first time since she was trained in Sennin transformation. Before Ibiki could shout at her again, the woman vanished in a swirl of flames and reappeared at the eastern gate. Looking around for a moment, Anko saw that the gates were lying in ruins and a large 3-headed serpent was rampaging towards the center of the village. Without a second thought, Anko used the Kuchiyos no Jutsu to summon a large black snake. "Kuroka, it seems that Manda and his band of traitors want to be skinned today. Care to help me out?" Anko asked from top of the snake's head. "No need to ask, Anko-san. Let me handle any traitor sass I find and you can handle their lies," Kuroka said as she rushed towards her opponent, the 3-headed snake. Anko jumped off the snake's head and landed in the middle of a group of Suna and Oto ninja. With a bloodthirsty grin, Anko manipulated the chakra cloak around her to lash out in the form of serpents and inject the unfortunate ninja with the toxic chakra she was producing through the sage transformation. The enemy ninja fell to the ground screaming and writhing in pain as the Senjutsu chakra proceeded to consume them from the inside out. Seeing that her opponents were done for, she decided to move on. Turning around, she saw that a group of Chunin were being overwhelmed, causing the woman to grin and rush to their aid. Bending the air around her, Anko easily boosted herself towards the group of Chunin and with a jump, vaulted over them. As she flipped head over heels, she thrusted her palms forward, sending a massive gust of wind that proceeded to scatter the enemy. While the enemy was disoriented and scattered, Anko landed on the ground and then punched towards a group of Otonin, reducing them to ashes with the massive blast of greenish-white flames. Twisting to her right, she thrusted her right hand, index and middle fingers out, and released a bolt of lightning that electrocuted a Sunajonin, allowing the Chunin group to finish him off. We need to get to the academy, Konohamaru exclaimed as he jumped on top of the hand of Sasuke Susanoo, as the latter rose into the air, out of reach of most enemies. As they flew by, Konohamaru proceeded to use combustion bending to incapacitate or even kill some enemies, bringing some relief to the defenders of Konoha. As they neared the academy, they saw the Chunin instructors were trying to get the students to safety, but were besieged by a group of Oto Chunin. Nodding to Sasuke, Konohamaru jumped off and started falling to the ground. As he closed in on the ground, he started to spin and generate streams of white flames from his outstretched arms, transforming into a swirling twister of blistering white flames. Just before he reached the ground, Konohamaru flipped and with a burst of flame softly landed on the ground right in the middle of an enemy formation and released his control over the flaming twister around him. The twister expanded in a moment and consumed the enemy ninjas before dissipating to reveal charred corpses. Twisting on his heels, Konohamaru burrowed into the earth and vanished just as an Oto Jonin threw a wave of shuriken at him. Before the Oto Jonin even realized what happened, a lion made of ink jumped out of the academy and proceeded to tear the man to pieces. Seeing their comrades fall seemed to ignite rage in the remaining Otonin's eyes. With a roar they formed some Hanzeals and then released blistering waves of fire in the form of Kiden, Gokaki no Jutsu. Just as the flames were about to wash over the defending Chunin, Sasuke dropped down from the sky and with his complete Susanoo, easily defended the group before retaliating with a wave of flames. The blue flames easily washed over the shocked Otonin, burning them to a crisp. As soon as all the Otonin were taken care of, Sasuke turned to Ruka and asked, "What's the situation, Ruka-sensei?" At the same time Konohamaru popped up from the ground beside Sasuke with Sai appearing in a standard Konoha shunshin. Most of the students have been evacuated. Unfortunately, a group of students decided to disobey the evacuation order and tried to help repel the invaders. To protect them, we were forced to forego the trap. Sasuke nodded before looking over Ruka's shoulder to see Mogi, Udon, Painabi, a girl from the Inuzuka clan, a boy from the Yamanaka clan, if his hair color was any indication, and of all the idiots, it were the duo of Uzumaki Natsu and Iba Hachisha'o. Of all the idiots, it had to be you two leading this band of misfits. Uzumaki Natsu and Iba Hachisha'o, you two will be answering to your respective clan heads when the invasion is won. As of this moment, you two will be following my lead and any insubordination will lead to a punishment served with Mokusama. Do I make myself clear? The red-haired boy and the shark-like girl shivered in fear and quickly nodded in agreement. I said, do I make myself clear? Hayachihu-sama. The two kids screamed while hugging each other in fear. Sasuke nodded with a satisfied expression and turned his attention to Hanabi, who stiffened in anticipation. And why are you involved? Those two classmates of yours, I can understand. But why you, Hyuga-san? Directing an annoyed glare at Natsu and Hachisha'o, she said, I was trying to keep these idiot underclassmen safe. Udon and Mogi joined me. The underclassmen were Natsu, Hachisha'o, the girl from the Inuzuka and the boy from the Yamanaka clans. Sasuke nodded in understanding before barking out, all academy students will follow us to the civilian shelter nearby. If we say duck, you duck. If we say roll left, you roll left. Do you understand? Hayachihu-sama. All the first-year students said while the second years, which consisted of Hanabi, Mogi and Udon, just nodded. Then move out. On Sasuke's command, Konohamaru took point. Sai moved to the left wing while Sasuke took his place at the right wing, the 4 first years in the middle and the 3 second years at the back. Then they moved out, leaving behind a group of relieved Chunin instructors. We need to hurry. There is a breach near the market district. The wall is damaged. Ino exclaimed as he sped up with Tenten and Lee following, the two Konoishi worried about their respective families. As they reached the district, they saw a group of retired shinobi and Konoishi trying to push back the invading group of enemy ninja, but it was clear that they were not proper shape to be successful. Nodding to Lee and Ino, Tenten jumped up and landed on a jutting piece of rock and thrust her palms forward, causing a wave of earthen spikes to butt out of the ground and skewer a few of the enemy ninja while the others scattered. Lee and Ino took the distraction as the perfect moment to strike. Lee jumped up and started spinning, causing a massive twister to form around him as he crashed into a group of disoriented ninja, blowing them into the village walls and ground. The defending force looked surprised, as did the invading one, when blood started flooding the ground beneath the defeated ninja from the multitude of lacerations caused by wind blades. Before the rest could even react, they clutched their heads and screamed as blood started leaking from their mouths, noses, eyes and ears. No one realized what happened at first, but soon it became clear as Ino landed on the ground, panting in exhaustion. "Crushed their brains, didn't you?" Tenten asked as she started using her earth and metal bending to seal up the breach in the wall. "Yeah, but it was extremely exhausting. So many soft targets. It would be easier to crush a massive boulder," Ino stated as decided to sit down for a short rest. "Here you go, kid. This should help with the exhaustion," an old shinobi said as he handed Ino a bottle of red liquid. Ino stared at the bottle with suspicion, causing a Konoha to chuckle and state, "It's not poison, Yamanaka-san. It is an old herbal remedy made by Tsunade-sama to help with mental fatigue." Ino nodded, and just as she was about to drink it, she sensed someone. Taking a quick drink, Ino handed the bottle back and turned to see a member of the reinstated Konoha military police walk up to them. "Thank you for your help, Genin, but you should move on to assigned duty. We will handle the investigation into the breach," the man stated as a team of police started to investigate the breached area. "Know this, that I shall be writing good reviews on you three, Genin Yamanaka, Genin Higurashi and Genin Lee. Now get going." "Damn it!" Kiba exclaimed as he and Akamaru ripped through a group of Oto ninja using a wind-bending enhanced Gotsuga. "Hadofu in, Raiko o!" Karen called out as she blasted a group of Sena ninja planning to attack the civilians they were leading away. "We are surrounded. We need to make a break for it," Hinata exclaimed as she thrust her palms forward, causing ethereal glowing waves to strike her targets, causing them to lose control of their limbs. "How?" Shino exclaimed as he launched a ball of Kikayaku at Asuna Jonin, who easily dodged and retaliated with a ball of fire. Shino closed his eyes in anticipation of the inevitable, only for the flames to be countered by a wave of even hotter flames. Opening his eyes, he saw Niyujito standing in front of him, engulfed in a cloak of blue-black chakra. "Go, I will hold these idiots off," Yujito stated, causing the group to nod and break through, leading the civilians towards the shelter. "It seems that I was wrong about you, Gaara," Raza stated as he launched a wave of gold dust at Gaara, who didn't even blink as he countered it with a wave of sands. "And what were you wrong about me, father?" Gaara asked as he manipulated the sand platform to drop a few feet and launch a wave of Sunashuriken. "You aren't a broken weapon after all. And it seems you would be a better cage than me. How did you learn of Orochimaru's betrayal?" Raza asked as the sand shuriken ripped parts of his body away, causing it to start regenerating. "You were foolish, father. Your actions lead me to believe that you were compromised. Until recently, you were all set to try and have Temari married off to Naruto. But that suddenly changed. I doubt you were that much of a fool to believe that Uzumaki Naruto would not destroy Suna in retaliation," Gaara stated as he and his father floated on their respective platforms of sand and gold dust. "You are right there, Gaara. Baki, I hereby pass on the mantle of Kazekage to my youngest son, Gaara. Tell Suna to fall back. That is my last order as Kage. Now find a way to seal me away, for that is the only way to defeat me now. The Kuchiyos, Edo Tensei is only stopped if the user wishes it, the summon is sealed or the summon reaches Nirvana. Please defeat me before I cause irreparable damage to our relationship with Konoha," Raza stated as he tried to attack, only to freeze as blue glowing lines formed all around his body. "As you wish, Dame-sama. Go, Dame-sama, what are your orders?" Baki asked as he relayed the information to the rest of the Suna forces. "Help Konoha push back Otogekure. I have things under control here," Gaara stated as Baki nodded and disappeared in a swirl of sand. Turning back to his father, Gaara-san and stated, "I hate you for all that you have done to me, but I understand that you were under a lot of stress due to your position and our daimyo's policies. Be happy, father, that I will not let Suna fall as long as I shall live. Goodbye." Raza could only blink his eyes as the blue glowing lines flashed and was absorbed into Raza's body, causing dust to scatter and reveal the corpse of a young boy with an intricate seal on his forehead. "Well, this is awkward," Hashirama stated as he watched Orochimaru fall to the ground after being burned by the purple barrier. "No, what is awkward is an enemy using a ninjutsu of my own creation to summon us in an attempted to destroy Konoha. I should have never created this damn kinjutsu. Tobirama exclaimed with annoyance. At least Orochimaru wasn't able to place the control seals on us. That gives us our full power and freedom to act as we please. Mito stated before turning to Kushina and asking, "What happened, Kushina? You shouldn't have died yet?" "That is a question for a different time, Mito-sama. I need to help my son." Kushina growled out in anger as she prepared to jump in and help Naruto against Orochimaru. "You don't need to do anything, Kushina. Naruto-kun has the whole situation completely under control," Hiruzen stated as he and his fellow Kage walked up to the group of resurrected ninja. Minato asked with surprise. "It seems that you have gotten old, Saru, as have you, Onoki," Tobirama stated with a wistful expression. "I have had enough of you ruining my plans, Naruto-kun. Today, Konoha shall burn even if I have to do it myself," Orochimaru stated with a sibilant hiss as he stood up and started changing. Sage transformation? Not a very good one, by the looks of it, Hashirama stated as he observed Orochimaru take on a more snake-like appearance. "Over my dead body, Orochimaru. By my honor as the Yuzu Daimyo and Godame Hokage, I will make sure that I neutralize the threat you have become," Naruto declared as his body pulsed with a silvery gold chakra cloak. "Godame Hokage? At his age?" Mito exclaimed with surprise as Hiruzen nodded. Minato and Kushina were equally stunned, but their pride was easily visible. Tobirama just hummed and stared at Naruto with an analytical gaze. Hashirama was just smiling as he sensed the powerful Senjutsu chakra flowing through Naruto, as if Naruto was breathing natural energy. Interesting Senjutsu mode. It seems as if he is breathing in and then breathing out natural energy, like air. Hashirama's comment caused Tobirama to just cock an eyebrow as he watched Naruto and Orochimaru clash fists. The shockwaves generated would have pushed them all back if they were lesser shinobi and Konoha. "The child Hokage reminds me of you and Madara in your youth, Hashirama. He is powerful." "I have to agree with you on that, Tobirama. He still has great potential to grow into. But one thing is certain, he is much better in Senjutsu than anyone I have ever met before." "Did he just?" Kushina gasped in shock as Naruto teleported out of the way of a Mandara no Jin and kicked Orochimaru in the back with a flaming foot. "That's right. He has developed a far better teleportation jutsu than Minato or my own. Gave me and my brother quite a bit of trouble during the morning exhibition match," he explained as he watched Orochimaru jump back while making hand seals before breathing out a wave of toxic gas. "He doesn't learn, does he, Hiruzen?" Onoki asked with a sad sigh. Hiruzen shook his head and stated, "Apparently not. Ninju gives Naruto-kun a far greater advantage than his own mastery of ninjutsu gives Orochimaru." "Why doesn't Naruto use the Kubai's power, Hiruzen? If he is this strong, he should easily be able to draw out the Kubai's power. In fact, I know he should be able to do it. My half of the Kubai told me that Naruto and his half of the Kubai is completely in sync," Minato asked with a frown as he felt his half of the Kubai awaken. Hashirama, Tobirama, Mito and Kushina turned to Minato with a surprised expression, as did the rest of the group. "May I ask who you are?" Tobirama asked with interest. "Forgive my rudeness. I am Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage and Naruto's father. Pleasure to meet you, Shodame-sama, Nadame-sama, Mito-sama." They nodded and turned to Hiruzen for the answer. Hiruzen just shrugged and stated, "That would be a bit too much, Minato. Naruto exemplify what a shinobi is. Until recently, he and his best friend hid their true power until they decided to reveal a small glimpse of it, and that too because of situation that arose due to sheer dumb luck. Naruto-kun is always pulling out a new trick. We don't even know if that is really him or a blood clone handling Orochimaru. So, to tell you the truth, I don't know why he isn't using the Kubai." "Hadofu in, Senjukoten Taio," Naruto called out as he pointed his palms towards Orochimaru, causing multiple spears of light to fly at Orochimaru. Seeing the power behind the technique, Orochimaru gritted his teeth and quickly used a defensive jutsu. Kuchiyos, Sanju Rashiman. A massive explosion erupted from the point of contact of the two techniques. Orochimaru's gates were instantly vaporized as the heavy Sannin was thrown back due to the explosion. Three-dimensional ceiling arts. Mito, Tobirama and Minato exclaimed in shock. "Yes. It seems Naruto-kun wrote the book on three-dimensional ceiling theory. From what I know, Some of the seal's power comes from the user while the rest comes from the excess chakra in the world around the user. In fact, the one he used on Orochimaru was probably a very high-level one. Hiruzen stated, getting nods from the rest of the group. Finally. That damned barrier is a menace. Karen stated as she, Haku and Suiren appeared in front of the Sandaime Hokage with Gaara, Roshi, Utakata, and B. Karen-chan, Haku-chan, Suiren-chan. What are you doing here? Hiruzen asked with surprise. Follow through with our orders, Sandaime-sama. Suiren exclaimed as she and Haku handed out seals to each of the resurrected ninja. Those seals are a type of yang release seals designed to bring the recently deceased back to life by flooding the corpses with intensely concentrated yang chakra. Natsumi-ni and Naruto-kun developed it from an older yang release healing seal. They have been filled with concentrated Bijū yang chakra by Naruto-kun. Please use it to resurrect yourselves. Karen requested, getting nods from the 5 Edo Tensei ninja. He still hasn't taken the bait. Roshi exclaimed with a frown. It seems so. The Tim is a right cautious one. Anyway, we should prepare for our move. Utakata stated as he and his fellow Jinchuriki nodded and were suddenly covered in bubbling cloaks of Bijū chakra. What are you for planning? He asked with a frown. A seal only usable by Jinchuriki, and that too only if 5 Jinchuriki work together. It is a cursed seal Shukaku designed to defeat Orochimaru. His cursed seals won't help him here. Gaara stated with a surprisingly light grin. Kazekage-sama, you should move away a bit. Karen stated, causing Gaara to jump back just as Anko and Sakura burst out of the ground in a cloud of rock dust. The snake is still alive? I thought Naruto-sama would have destroyed him by now. Anko whined with annoyance as Sakura just narrowed her eyes at the fight. Brilliant in trance, you too. Sakura-chan, I hope you haven't been taking lessons from Anko? Hiruzen asked as he coughed out a cloud of dust. Forgive me, Sandaime-sama, but that was the only entrance we could use. Anyway, I have seen to it that the western front has been won. Anko has handled the northern front. Jiraiya-sama is still handling the western front. There are rumors that the southern wall was breached, but I am not sure. Now please excuse me while I go and make sure the idiot doesn't overreach himself. Sakura stated as the seal on her forehead pulsed and spread down her face and body. Closing her eyes, Sakura sat down and started to meditate. Who is that girl? Hashirama asked with interest, having already used the seal to resurrect himself as did his fellow Edo Tensei. Because, she is quite good in Senjutsu if the speed at which she is blending natural energy is anything to go by. Jonin, Haruno Sakura. She is one of Konoha's best. The head of the medical division and the only known summoner of the turtle summons and their human sennin. Hiruzen explained as Sakura jumped up and revealed yellow turtle-like eyes and small-scale patterns all around her face. Stomping her foot, Sakura caused a pillar of rock to throw her into the air and towards the fight. She also has super strength that makes Tsunade-sama's vaunted strength look normal. Anko stated with a deadpan expression as Orochimaru barely dodged Sakura's heel drop, which caused a massive crater to form as broken boulders flew up into the air. She is good. There is no doubt that she deserves her rank as Jonin. Tobirama stated as he watched Sakura fight against Orochimaru while Naruto jumped back. Is that what I think it is? Minato gasped in shock as Naruto conjured up a Yoton Rasen Shiken. That's right. It is the completed version of your Rasengan, Minato, though it seems that it contains 3 elements instead of 1. Fire and earth to make lava and wind to give it massive slicing power. Why does he even need Tokubai when he can conjure up such powerful techniques? Onoki groused out as surprisingly, Naruto threw the technique towards a patch of dirt. The massive dome of lava and winds dissipated quickly to reveal heavily injured Manda erupt out of the crater with a sibilant hiss. My turn. Anko stated as she burst into her Sennin transformation and clashed with the injured and exiled snake summon boss, her cloak of toxic chakra making short work of the already injured snake. Another sage. Hashirama exclaimed in surprise. This is unbelievable. Was there a Senjutsu sale? Mito asked with confusion. Other than Jiraiya, only Naruto-kun, Sakura-chan and Anko are sages, though Naruto-kun is considered a grand sage by the summons. Hiruzen explained as a small puff of smoke came from Minato's shoulder. Pa, you were right. Minato-chan is back alive. How did that happen? The old female toad sage asked with confusion. Don't know, but this has Naruto-sama written all over it. Pa exclaimed with an exasperated sigh. Good to see you both again, Ma, Pa. How have you been? Minato asked with a smile. We would have been better if your son doesn't keep making us feel like failures. Ma exclaimed with annoyance. Anko-chan. Pa suddenly called out as Anko landed beside Hiruzen as the last vestiges of her Sennin transformation faded away. Oh. If it isn't the two small Gamma Sennin. What are you doing here? I doubt that Naruto-sama summoned you both. Anko asked with surprise. Not important. Tell us when you learned Sennin transformation? In fact, how did you survive? Asked with surprise. It was easy. The Chaki no Juin already used to send minor amounts of Senjutsu chakra into my system. I just need to learn how to balance concentrated chakra. That's all. You should look at the battle now. It's nearing its end. Anko stated with a superior grin. Damn you brats. Now feast your eyes on my greatest technique. Ninpo, Yamata no Jutsu. Orochimaru transformed into massive 8-headed white snake and tried to bite down on the two shinobi, only for Naruto to pulse with golden chakra as he entered Bijū mode, with Sakura jumping back away from the fight. Now's our chance. Roshi exclaimed as he and his fellow Jinchuriki rushed forward to help as they transformed into their respective Bijū modes as well. Today you die, Orochimaru. Gaara and Shukaku called as Shukaku slammed his hands onto the ground. Glowing blue lines of seals spread out and wrapped around Orochimaru's monstrous form. Around the gigantic white snake, the other three Jinchuriki in Bijū mode arrayed themselves in a rhombus pattern and placed their respective front appendages in the glowing circles and pushed their chakra into the seal, causing it to glow with a crimson light. It's all over, Orochimaru. This seal will seal your soul away in the pure realm for all of eternity, unable to live and unable to die. Naruto stated as he moved to place Kurama's avatar's palms onto the snake. Orochimaru tried to escape by transforming back into his human form but was unable to move as the glowing seals restricted his motor abilities. Just as the Kubai's palms were about to touch him, Tobi appeared inside the chakra construct and stabbed Naruto through the heart before taking hold of Orochimaru and dragging them both into a swirling portal as Kurama's avatar vanished. Naruto. Everyone except the Jinchuriki and Sakura screamed as the blonde Jinchuriki crashed into the ground. Don't move, I will handle it. Sakura ordered as she kneeled down beside the unconscious Naruto and placed her palm on Naruto's head and closes her eyes. Both Naruto and Sakura glowed with pale green glow, garnering interest from Hashirama. The glow faded and Naruto jerked up into a sitting position and grinned. Everyone was relieved that Naruto survived, only to be shocked when Sakura punched the boy into a crater with an angry glare. Damn. Reminds me of the time Jiraiya-sensei peeked on Kushina at the public onsen and got beaten up as a result. Minato stated, getting an acknowledging nod from Hiruzen. If I didn't know better, I would say that the girl has the famous Uzumaki temper. Tobirama stated, only for a shiver to run down his spine a moment later when he sensed Mito and Kushina breathing down his neck. Before he could try to mitigate the situation, both Kushina and Mito had already smashed their fists into the Naruto Hokage's head, forcing him into a crater with a simultaneous declaration of, "Don't make fun of the Uzumaki." Everyone ignored the spectacle in favor of watching Naruto talk with Sakura, Gaara, Roshi, Utakata and B for a moment before limping over to them. Sorry about the scare, but it was the only way to trick the rogue Uchiha. I am going to be fine in a couple of weeks. Naruto stated with a reassuring smile. Don't do something like that again, Naruto-sama. Or I will tell Moka-sama about you foregoing protocols again. Suiron threatened with a dark glare. That was a bit too much, don't you think, Naruto-sama? Haku asked, only for Naruto to counter, I don't need to hear that from someone who puts their enemies in a death-like state. Haku pouted but nodded all the same as Karen caught hold of his collar and started to violently jerk him as she stated, do something like that again and I will make sure to tie you down to your hospital bed with my kongofusa. And then force feed you the worst tasting herbal remedies Sakura, Tsunade Bakken and I can come up with, got it? Minato and Mito chuckled at the sight, with the latter commenting, reminds me of Kushina as a child. She is a true Uzumaki alright. A clone of Naruto suddenly appeared with a pale pinkish red-haired girl in his grasp. The other four are taken care of, boss. This one defected the first chance she got. Claims to be an Uzumaki. Naruto nodded as he hobbled over to the girl and asked, "Tell me your name, girl, and you better be truthful. I can pick out a lie as easily as the cube I can eat you." "Tayuya. Uzumaki Tayuya. Orochimaru killed my mother and then kidnapped me a long time ago before giving me this stupid seal to keep me under control. I heard you are the Uzumaki clan head, so I thought you might allow me to return." Everyone stared at her for a moment as Naruto thought over his response before smiling and stating, "Very well, Tayuya. If you do carry Uzumaki blood, you will be able to pass the barrier protecting the compound. As for the seal, I can have it removed any time you wish, but you will remain on probation and serve under Zabuza, who will be leading Kimimaro and Jugo for the foreseeable future." "Kimimaro and Jugo? They defected to Yuzu?" Tayuya asked with incredulity. Naruto nodded before addressing the rest of the gathered group. "I need to head back home and rest. I will have my clone handle my duties for the moment. I will call a meeting when I wake. Until then, please feel free to do whatever you wish. And you give resurrected shinobi, you can stay at the Uzumaki clan compound like Tsunade back and does, or you lot can return to your old homes. Gigi, sorry to ask, but can you help my clone handle the paperwork until I wake up?" Hiruzen nodded with a smile and said, "Of course, Naruto-kun. I will see you blood clone after I get the reports from the Ibiki. I will help out as well." "Damn, didn't think I would have to do paperwork again," Minato stated with a smile. "I shall help out as well. I wish to see what has changed since my time as Hokage," Tobirama stated with a barely visible smile. "And I will see to the reconstruction effort. Just assign me a team of genin as my guide. It seems the village has grown tremendously since I have died," Hashirama stated, causing Naruto to nod and turn to Karen. Karen, Haku and Suiran straightened their backs and waited for their orders, even if they already knew what they would be. "Team Yuzu, you shall be guiding Senju Hashirama around the village as he helps with the relief efforts with his legendary skills and Makotan. Suiran, you shall be using your earthbending to help as well. Are your orders clear?" "Aye." The three declared and turned to Hashirama for their next set of orders. "I shall see you later. Sakura-chan, I want to talk with you in my office at the compound after I wake up. Make sure to try and keep your schedule free at that time," Naruto stated as Sakura nodded, causing the blonde Godame Hokage to smile and then waving to the group, fade into thin air. So that's it for today, guys. If you like this story and want more, then please subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Until then, take care and goodbye.